Hello there everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Unlimited video. I don't know if this is going to be coming through, I hope it is. I have had some technical issues over the last 6 months to a year. I've had new equipment that I've bought since I started doing this, and basically things have just slowly been breaking. So I've decided to invest in a lovely new dock, which should hopefully contain all the issues, stop the connectivity problems, and hopefully I will sound great and look great. Let's pretend I never did that. Guys, we are so back. We are so back. Any Kylo Ren enthusiasts in the chat? We are so back. What cards did you miss this week in Star Wars? Let's talk about it, and then I want to talk about how excited I am for this leader next set. So obviously we got a whole whack of card reveals to talk about. So let's just go ahead and get cracking. God, when was the last time I had one of these? I think, oh my god, it was ages ago. Right, let's go, and it was here. So let's pivot over to the screen. Wham bam. Let's begin. So we begin. Oh, I've trolled. Oh, man. There we go. I've trolled. Guys, don't worry, please. Please. It's okay. This is a professional outfit. Right. BB8. So, this is the first of quite a few card reveals we've got to talk about that we got over the last week. So, BB8 is a 1-drop 1/4 in red, white. So, immediately we are going to seriously, consider this card. This card is a little crazy, right? So it's a 1/2 piloting for 1. Honestly, like that on its own, I would seriously consider playing this card. When played as an upgrade, you may pay 2 if you do ready a resistance unit. So the deck that I immediately think of, right, and inevitably we are going to in the future have a proper resistance deck. It's going to happen. Probably not this set, but it is going to happen for sure. It's very clear that there are a few attributes they're working on in the set in particular, and I don't think resistance is one of them, though it could be. It very well could be. Poe Dameron is the big one here, right? So you can imagine a situation where you play the Poe and somehow it survives, right? And then you get to swing with it, get the value out of it. Your opponent doesn't immediately answer it because they're like, oh, well, the Poe swung. Let me deal with the other stuff here. And then you get to upgrade, BB8, untap the Poe, and your opponent's cooked. This is, frankly, magical Christmas fairyland. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. But this is a card that I will be looking at very much when we get any kind of resistance deck. I think the big thing for me is that this just says ready a resistance unit, so this will untap leaders, and that is crazy. So this is going to be one of those cards where, like so many uncommons in this set, it feels like it's just completely cracked. I'm going to be picking up so much of the set in Hyperspace, just looking forward. Obviously, with the rotation announcement, which you guys would have seen, I definitely think this is like a set where they've gone, yeah, power level is up here. Because obviously when sets 1 to 3 go, this will kind of be the base power level. And they want it to be pretty strong. But yeah, I think this card is insane. I don't think it really has a place at the moment, but I think it's insane. So hilariously, as I'm recording this, something new has been posted in the spoilers. So we may have just got a new card, which even I haven't seen yet. So that'll be fun. Okay, next we have got Snap Wexley. This is a 3-drop 2/5 when played as a unit or on attack. The next resistance card you play this phase costs 1 less. Okay, that's all right. Piloting for 2 for +2/+2. That's that's on rate. When played as an upgrade, search the top 5 cards of your deck for a resistance card, reveal it, and draw it. So yeah, I think it may even be in this set. I suspect we will obviously see that red-green hero resistance deck coalescing. This is going to be a fantastic card in that deck, right? Like, you play this as an upgrade, you're getting an upgrade that is parity, right? Like, this is Academy training, except you have the versatility of being able to play this as a 3/5, as a 2/5 rather, I should say, or you just get to, replace it. This card is very, very good. Very, very, very good. I think this is going to, it's a staple in that deck. Tactical Heavy Bomber. This is a cool card. I don't think it's good. So it's a 5-drop 3/5. On attack, deal indirect damage equal to this unit's power to the defending player. If a base is damaged this way, draw a card. So, magical Christmas land, very crazy times, again, right, is you play this, have initiative, stick a Chewbacca on it. Okay, now it's a 6/8 that they can't immediately remove. You swing, you do a shitload of damage, and then you upgrade something else with a BB-8, untap this, and swing again. Again, Magical Fairy Christmas Land, it's not happening. It's never going to happen. And I think this card is way too slow. If this card had worse stats, but was like a 2-drop or a 3-drop, I think it would be really, really scary. And I suspect that's why. Like, even if they'd given this card better, even if they'd made this a 4-4, like just made it a 5-drop 4-4, I would have been like, okay, well, I mean, that's potentially pretty decent. Maybe a slightly better ECL target. As it is right now, I am doubtful it'll be that good. I mean, you're paying basically a 2-cost premium for the effect plus the stats in space. I don't think that's great. Okay. Then we got just these 3 actually just busted cards, like actively just insane cards. So we've got Desperate Commando. This is a 2-drop 2/2. When defeated, you may give a unit -1/-1 for the phase. So obviously, normally this card's pretty mid. In Thrawn, this card is fucking broken. This trades into 4/4s. This trades into 3/3s and maybe soften something up so you can kill something else. This is just absolute gas. Like, it's a card your opponent's just not going to want to deal with, and so you just get to keep it 2/2. And obviously you can 2-for-1 the opponent as well. If they play, like, turn 1, they play a 2-drop, and like you have initiative or something. Well, it just doesn't matter. Man, the point is, you can just 2-for-1. You can find those situations. Like, this card is just so strong. This is going to be a staple in Thrawn for sure. Like, I think outside of Thrawn, this is pretty bad, but in Thrawn, it's absolutely ridiculous. Here we got another crazy card. Black Squadron Scout Wing. So this is a 5-drop 4/6. When you play an upgrade on this unit, you may attack with this unit. It gains +1/+0 for this attack. So this is a 5-drop 4/6 in space. That is good enough on its own that we would contemplate playing it, depending on traits, depending on the deck. That is very, very good stats. On top of that, you get to sort of circumvent the action economy issues of upgrades. And obviously, in a set designed around pilots, the idea of playing this, taking initiative, going next, and going, okay, cool, 2, 3, 4-cost upgrade, God forbid you leader upgrade this, oh my god, right? You claim first action, leader upgrade, boom, +4/+4 or something. I'm going to bash your head in for 9, and then I'm just going to do more things. That could be terrifying. So I think in some decks we will be really eyeing up this card. In others, I think this is going to be pretty mid. It may just be a stat beast. We'll see. And then maybe the best one of these cards, Radus. This is a 7-drop 8/6. While you control another resistance card. So okay, you know what? I'm lying. I guess it is this set where we're going to see resistance really become a thing. This unit gains Sentinel. Okay, so there's a 7-drop 8/6 Sentinel space. That's pretty good. When defeated, deal damage equal to this unit's power to an enemy unit. That's crazy. That's really good. Yeah, I mean, this is just, nuking stuff down. It's any unit, so you can nuke their leaders, you can do whatever you want. Because it deals damage, it's going to, like, potentially circumvent some stuff like Chewbacca, I believe. So, like, Chewbacca, because you're dealing damage to the unit, it circumvents it. Obviously, it doesn't circumvent Lurking Tie, so that sort of thing there. This card is just very, very, very strong. I'm really looking forward to seeing the prestige art on this. Right, okay. We're not done yet. So next we got Admiral Holdo. So this is a resistance leader. I can't say I'm too fond of it though. So this is pay 1, tap, give a resistance unit or unit with a resistance upgrade on it, +2/+2 for the phase. So I mean, don't get me wrong, for 1 that is actually really powerful. Like, that is very, very strong. Deploys on 6, 3/8. On attack, you may give another resistance unit or a unit with a resistance upgrade on it, +2/+2 for the phase. So same ability. I think she just comes out too late. I think that's my big issue. Unlike, I mean, so you're always going to have this problem with when you're paying, you have to pay a resource to use a leader ability. You always, there's sort of a tier list of how good leader abilities are, and this is pretty much the worst kind. It costs something and it takes an action. That being said, you're getting something pretty bloody good. There aren't really any conditions outside of, obviously, so you have to play tribal, fine. But, you can consider this like, turn, like, this is going to let you trade up, like, pretty easily. +2/+2 is a lot. Like, that is a lot. It's going to really easily let you trade up. But, we saw with Anakin kind of doing it for free, that wasn't really good enough. And Anakin is a hell of a lot better of a deploy than Holdo is. So I think, and I will say Anakin does see play, right? So maybe Holdo will see play, and maybe there is actually enough resistance energy there that, like, you know what, it's fine. And obviously, if you're paying 1 to give a resistance +2/+2 and then restanding it with BB-8, that's a lot of damage. So I'm not going to write this off. My inclination is this probably isn't the best way we're going to see resistance get used. I think resistance will be used. I don't think it's going to be with Holdo, but we'll see. I mean, this is definitely a really, really cool card. Okay, then we got our next base. This is hilarious. This is the anti-EU base. 27 HP. Your minimum deck size decreases by 5 cards. It's really funny. So it's 10% less HP for 10% less cards. This should be good, right? In theory, this should be good. The logic is basically, if you're playing, if you have 5 less cards in your deck, then in theory, right, you're more consistent on everything. You can play less of the cheaper cards and maybe more, the better cards represent more of your deck. I think the issue is we're actually kind of at a stage in the game where most decks are just full of good cards, and it's actually really hard to cut down the numbers. So I definitely think there will be decks in the future where this will be actually kind of a problem. But yeah, I don't know. We'll need to see. Is it worth taking that 3 HP hit? I mean, probably, yeah. But we'll need to see. I think it's a really cool base, though. Really, really cool design. I mean, even if it's bad, it's just very cool design, which I really like. Okay, then we got another legendary. We got Profundity. So this is another legendary for red. They're really giving us all the red spoilers. Also, it seems, I mean, I guess there's even going to be more legendaries in the set, so maybe that's why they're doing it. 9-drop red white. 8/9 huge rebel vehicle capital ship overwhelm. When played or when defeated, choose a player. They discard a card from their hand. Then, if they have more cards in their hand than you, they discard a card from their hand. So, the way this is basically going to work is you need to be playing a deck that is going long, and that you play making sure you have the initiative going into resource 9, where you've kind of been making sure their hand ripped a little bit, so they're down to 0 cards at the end of that turn. And then you can first action play Profundity and blank their turn. Doesn't sound that great to me. I suspect this will actually be one of those kind of cards. It's a bit of a bomb in like control decks, and actually I wouldn't be shocked if we saw those really late game hard control decks just splashing this for the mirror, because this is actually really powerful. To potentially make your opponent discard 4 cards to remove this is serious issue, and obviously they need to remove it. It's an 8/9 with overwhelm. Maybe it's too expensive is my thought, but yeah, it's a really cool card. Okay, then we got another couple of bangers. So we got a 5-drop 6/7 that gains -1/-0 for each damage on it. I have to say, I think that this might be really, really strong. I think this might actually be really underrated. A 6/7 is just monstrously huge for 5. And depending on how much blue removal we see out there, this could be insane. Obviously, right, if your opponent does 3 damage to this, then this is a 3/4 that you've played for 5. But if they've done 3 damage to it, they've either wasted effect damage on it, well, not wasted, but they've pumped effect damage into it, or they have crashed a unit, in which case you've traded something. So I don't think this is actually that bad. I mean, it's ridiculously huge stats for a downside that isn't actually that bad. I don't know. I will be playing this card, I think, because just trying it out at least, because it seems like it should be really, really good. All right. Then we've got Ahsoka. So this card is just ridiculous. 4-drop yellow-white, 3/5, fringe and force traded. When played, an opponent discards a card from their hand. If it's a unit, you may exhaust a unit. So, firstly, I'll tell you right now, every single Quinlan Tarkentown deck is going to take 3 copies of this card, slot it right in, and on their flip turn, they're going to want to go, cool, play Ahsoka, you discard a card, force throw. Your board is gone, your hand is gone, right? That's what they're going to want to be doing. Because that is so powerful. This is so good. This is so generic. Your opponent just loses a card. Just lose it. And a lot of the time, your opponent is going to be discarding units. It just happens really frequently. This game is primarily a unit-based game. That's going to happen even more so with pilots. If those end up being really popular and maybe, what little space upgrades have, they starts getting encroached upon by pilots. I mean, you're just always going to be exhausting something, which is so strong. I think this card is really, really good. I think this is definitely one of the best cards that we've seen so far. Okay, then we've got Mist Hunter. This is a 3-drop 3/4 yellow-black. On attack, if you play a Bounty Hunter or Pilot this phase, you may draw a card. I think this is pretty decent. Pretty reasonably statted in space for the cost. I just don't know that there's that much space for the card. That's really the only issue. And then we got this insane thing. We got Turbo Laser Salvo. Choose an arena. A friendly space unit deals damage equal to its power to each enemy unit in that area. So this is ridiculous, right? The moment you stick any sort of reasonably big spaceship in an arena and your opponent's sort of dodged, you just clean it up and you stabilize, right? That's the idea here. I have no idea how good this is actually going to be because it is conditional. It's hardly Super Laser Blast, right? But it's a turn earlier, which can really, really matter. It deals everything. It's to all units, right? So I mean, this is a Piet card, right? Like in Piet, where you actually get to play potentially an 8-drop ship on 6, and then you can turbo laser salvo the next turn, right? So you play Devastator, boom, 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 clean out space, for example, if that's what you're not, if that's just where there's a few little piddly things, take the initiative and then go turbo laser salvo, your ground's now gone, and I win the game. Very, very possible that's exactly how it's going to go. So I think, Piet definitely probably will be interested in this card. I mean, it's probably going to play Barrage as well. But I'm not sure about the other decks. We'll need to see. But I'm very, very interested in this card. I mean, it's pretty nuts. Okay. Right. First order time, baby. So for those of you who don't know, I am a first order apologist. The so cool, like the armor, it looks really, really sick. Like the visuals, are very, very cool. I'm not a, not the fascism stuff. Relax. just the cool armor. They look cool. So Phasma, who was one of my favorite characters until nothing happened with her character, is potentially a new premier aggro leader. Let's talk about it. So action, ping, if you play the first order card this phase. Only to your opponent. Okay, that's interesting. That's really interesting. So this is a better Sabine ping, but you are forced to go first order tribal for it, basically, and you come out a little bit later. Okay, is that worth it? Maybe. Let's have a look at the flip side. So we come out on 5 as a 4-6. Not the best. Probably would have preferred 3-7, but maybe we don't. It's an aggro deck. It's not bad stats, right? And we would have loved 4-7, but I don't think we're doing any more of those. On attack, if you played another first order card this phase, you may deal 1 damage to a unit. If you do, deal 1 damage to a base. Okay, so you get a little mini Vader ability, basically, for free as long as you've played the first order. Lots of things to like here, right? Like, I mean, solid stats, really good front side ability, really solid flip side ability. Okay, the question, of course, how good are the first order cards? Well, let's take a look. And there's already some in the game, and that's what I'm sort of going to talk about in a moment. And we've seen some spoiled as well already. So first we have Special Forces TIE Fighter. So this is a 2-3. When played, if your opponent controls more space units than you, ready this unit. I think this is basically just a 2-3, right? You're playing it because it's traded. Don't overthink it. If the ability goes off, the ability goes off. Could have been a vanilla. I think it would have been basically as good. Hux is a 2-cost 1-4. Not ideal. Each other friendly first order gains raid 1. Okay, that's interesting. Action, if you played a first order card this phase, draw a card. Right, so this is interesting, because now Hux is sort of an engine to let you just shit out your whole hand as hard as you can, and really synergizes with Kylo as well, to allow you to just really aggressively discard and then refill as you need to. And then obviously in Phasma, if you're trying to go, it seems like this is a really go wide deck, like you are just shitting out your hand, and so to just keep refueling it with Hux, and sort of forcing your opponent to like, maybe deal with Hux, but then your huge wide board is still there. So it's interesting. And then obviously Hux is like a huge, huge target because he's giving everything raid 1. So I think this is a really, really good card for this go wide strategy. We got a couple other cards. I think this is what has sort of pushed me over the edge to get really, really excited. It's these two cards. So first we've got First Order TIE Fighter. This is a 1-drop 2-1. First Order, while you control a token unit, this gains raid 1. This is a 3-1 while you control a token. Okay. That's pretty good. A 3-1 in space. That's pretty good. But this is the source. Captain Phasma. 5-drop, green-black. So, guys, it's an ECL deck. Who could have seen this coming? 5-6, First Order Trooper. When played and on attack, you may give another First Order unit +2/+2 for this phase. That is fucking crazy. That is nuts. So you ECL this thing in. It's a 5-6 ECL'd in. That's good, for the record. Those are good stats. And you get to sling around +4/+2/+2 and +2/+2. Whoo! I mean, obviously, I'm an absolute Kylo enthusiast, right? So I'm thinking about these situations where I deploy Kylo on 4, I slap a Mandalorian's blade onto him or a lightsaber onto him, so I make him big, and then on the next turn I ECL in a Phasma. My board's pretty wide. I give +2/+2 to Kylo, +2/+2 to something else. Suddenly they have to deal with this huge board. I've just domed one of their things, and I'm about to turn my card sideways quite aggressively. Things are looking a little spooky. So, yeah, this is really strong. This is really, really strong, right? This is the Poe for this deck, right? And we kind of already have the Wrecker, and we'll sort of talk about it. But, yeah, so insane. Let's talk about these last couple cards. But well, I don't know. This may be the last card. We'll find out. This is Moff Gideon. This is a 4-drop 5/4 in yellow. When this unit deals combat damage to an opponent's base, each unit that opponent plays this face costs 1 more. This could be terrifying. This could be. It's 4 cost, so I would like it to be a little more immediately impactful, but it's a 5/4. It's pretty big. The only cards that really immediately deal with it are basically Fall On. So, and you know, this trades with all of those 3/5s at 4, which we have been seeing becoming quite popular. So I think and stays alive. So I think for that reason, it's a card that I'm very interested in. So I think this card's probably good. I don't really know where it fits immediately, like outside like Palp Yellow or something. So we'll need to see, and that's because it's, you know, official traded. Maybe Tarkin, right? Like, you know, it's Imperial. So hey, hey, that's something. Right, let's see if there's 1 or 2 more cards that have shown up. Oh yeah, we got a couple. Okay, fine. There was just a tweet here, but we did get a couple just now. So we've got Frisk. This is a 2-drop 3/2. Okay, that's good enough on its own. But then it also has piloting for 2 and +2/+2. Okay, that's the minimum. When players an upgrade, you may defeat an upgrade that costs 2 or less. So great. You just get to destroy your opponent's pilots. Yep, this is a very, very good card. I think this will see play in the sideboard at minimum. And then we have finally got Fight Fire with Fire. Choose a friendly unit and an enemy unit in the same arena. If you do, deal 3 damage to each of them. This is an interesting card. I don't know how good it is. I mean, it's, you know, it's sort of worse. It's like worse McClunky, right? But it's not traded. I mean, but obviously with McClunky, you're replacing the card because you're getting the thing back to your hand. So, yeah, I think this probably is more of a draft card, but we will need to see. Now, I am going to co-opt your screens and take a moment to talk about Kylo Ren, who is goated with the Source, because I just want to talk about a few of these cards, right? So let me just make myself a little bit. Let's move myself over here. So we've got a couple of first order cards I kind of want to talk about, and this is Kylo and Phasma, right? So these are Kylo is going to be less first order matters, but obviously if you're ECLing and a Phasma, like, you probably want to be playing first order cards, and we're already playing like quite a few. So obviously Kylo's TIE Silencer, the stonks through the roof for this guy, right? If you ECL in a Kylo, if you ECL in a Phasma, and you just make your Kylo's TIE 7/6, that's pretty scary. So I mean, for that reason alone, like that's you know, worth playing. Kylo Ren here, the 6-drop Kylo Ren is a 6/7, which if you ECL in, can ECL in for 8/7. Is huge, right? Like that's our Wrecker. It's worse than Wrecker. It is definitely worse than Wrecker. That is, like, you know, very, very obvious. But it is your big beat stick that it's nuking basically every leader in the game that's coming out at this point. So, you know, like we play it because we just need a way to answer those leaders. That's the main reason. This is, remember, also a deck that, if it so chooses, can play Resupply and Super Laser Technician, and, you know, some various exploit synergies. So we'll need to see. I'll refresh you as well on the Kijimi Patrollers. So we can play a 1/1 that makes another 1/1, going nice and wide there. First Order Stormtrooper is another 1-drop that's 2/1 with dealing indirect damage. Great card, going to see a lot of play. Obviously, that's going to be a staple. And Allegiant General Pride. So this is a 2/3 that lets you defeat upgrades on indirect damage that's applied to units. Probably won't actually come up that often, but it's a thing. And then obviously on attack, you get to deal extra indirect damage while you have the initiative. So this card can be really scary. So yeah, I'm a fan of Pride. I think as well, you know, with Kylo ability, he's a 4/3 on turn 2, so you can just nuke anything your opponent plays pretty much. So yeah, really, really solid list of cards there. And obviously we need to talk about some of the old favourites, right? Overwhelming Barrage. This card is maybe not going to be played in the 50, but it's sure as fuck going to be in the 60. We know this card is insane. We maybe have the best suite of ECL targets at 5 in the game now. We have Maul and we have Phasma. These are ridiculously powerful cards, right? Like Maul is 2 for 1ing, Phasma is nuking something and then spreading power across your board, making your whole board more resilient. Really, really, really powerful. And then obviously, you know, our burn spell, Planetary Bombardment, to sort of clean up shop, right? I think this deck has a real shot. I think it's going to have legs. It may be that you have to just play Phasma, and Kylo doesn't really have the stuff at the moment. As I say, you know, when I first read this guy, I was like, the way this is probably going to get played is in that sort of, like, you know, value, you know, you're discarding, your recurring stuff. They just haven't printed the cards for it yet, so I wouldn't be shocked if Phasma is the way you go for the aggro version for sure. I mean, you can aggro Kylo. You definitely can aggro Kylo. So, like, it can do both. And that's maybe what will make Kylo a better leader in the long run, is the fact that you sort of get to do both those things, you know. much easier to play cards like Palpatine's Return and things in a deck like Kylo. You get the sort of resilience of being able to play Force cards, right? Like, we can throw in a Force throw and stuff like that. So we need to see, but that's just me doing a bit of glazing. A huge week of card reveals here. Just really, really exciting. There are still so many cards to get seen. I think we, as someone totted it up, we're not even halfway through the set yet, and it comes out in a month. So we've got a lot to see, and usually the set's done spoiling by a couple of weeks before. So we'll see what happens. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe to the channel for lots more Star Wars Unlimited content. My fellow Kylo Glazers, let me know. Sound off in the comment section below. I'd like to hear if you got any hype or if I am just purely coping. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Cheers.